You're listening to Lyfe and Shyt. I'm Daneyel Walker.
And I'm Tommy Walker.
Join us as we talk about our journey overcoming fears, boundaries, marriage, family, lifestyle, business, and whatever other shit you can think of.
We're individuals that came together to create one unit with one mind and one goal. What's up, baby?
What's up?
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I am outstanding. I'm very excited because we got a show today. It's the first time that we've had two guests on at the same time.
Yes.
Right. That's been virtual. Like we've had two guests in the studio, and like a couple. But this is the first time right now all of us are in separate parts of the world.
Yes, that's really cool. I love how we can connect like that.
Yeah,
so we're talking about friendship today too, so that's pretty cool. That's how friends stay friends.
Yeah, for real. I mean, we can connect anywhere. So we're on the West Coast, and then we have Annmarie and Chanel from the podcast Sweet 15 on the show with us, and Chanel is all the way in Paris.
Yes. Hello, Chanel. Can you hear us?
Hello. Yes.
Super dope. And we have Annmarie, which is in my stomping grounds.
Oh, is she in
my old
NYC?
stomping grounds? Yeah, Annmarie is in New York, out in Staten Island, which
we don't need to talk about Staten Island. But yes, we're over here in New York.
Okay, thank you. Let's just keep it there. Don't go bringing up where exactly I am.
No, New York, the 5 boroughs.
Oh, I love it.
Annmarie, Chanel, welcome to the Lyfe and Shyt podcast show.
Yes.
We're honored to have you, and we're going to jump right into today's show. It's all about friendship, and I got a question for all of you.
What's up?
So in today's times, right, and I'm asking, of course, baby, you answer this first, and then Annmarie and Chanel, we like to get your input on this. Today is 2023, and we're talking about friendships, and for at least the last 15 years, you've been able to click a friend and unclick a friend.
Yeah, it's true.
Because of social media.
Unfriend you.
Yeah, know what? Unfriend. And legit, we from a society standpoint, we've been standing on that.
That's true.
So now, being the way we grew up, how do you keep friendships when it's just a click of a button away?
Oh, you got to work at it, right? It's not going to be easy. And friendship is like any other relationship, right? Mother, daughter, brother, sister, auntie, uncles. If you don't cultivate that relationship or like anything, it'll die. It won't grow. And so you have to work at it. Just be there, support, right? And just stand up. In all friendships, you don't have to talk to each other every single day, right? You don't have to be in each other's faces all the time. You don't have to tell each other all your deepest secrets, right? But just know each other, and be there for each other. And I think that's how you keep it. That's how you keep it.
That's how you keep from getting unclicked.
Yeah. But I go ahead. Go ahead. No, go.
I was going to switch it over before you use all the definitions. And then Annmarie and Chanel ain't going to have nothing to say about friendships. You're going to drop all the... all they going to say is, what she said. So pre-show, Annmarie was talking about Chanel moving to Paris and traveling. Like we've moved a lot. And I don't think I've ever called a friend to say, yo, come help me move. That's just one of the things that
I have, but you're always like, no, baby, we got this.
So Annmarie, Chanel, same question, but please tell us a story about that move in Paris.
Yes. First you have to answer the question.
Yeah, I'm going to say what she said.
I knew it.
Because it's exactly like that. The watering, the taking the time, it's a lot of work. And for me, I've never been in a romantic partnership before. So I feel like I treat my, whatever energy I would put into there, I put into my friendships, I put into my family. And it's the nurturing of it, knowing that if a birthday comes around or if there's a special moment or something, making sure that my friend knows that I am there, even if I am miles away.
Yes, I agree. Annmarie.
Yeah, so for me, I'd say what you said, but also For me, having a friend is just somebody who really cares about you, really understands you, and is always prioritizing your mental health, your well-being, and making sure that they're investing in that relationship. It's not one-sided. There's a lot of people involved. And for me, like, for instance, most recently, I had torn my ACL and I had surgery about a week ago. And afterwards, all of my friends were like flooding me with messages, sending me like little teddy bears and small little gifts to make me feel appreciated. And for me, that's just like the pillar of friendship, is checking in on the person you care about when they're down or they need somebody around them.
That's true. That is life.
Yeah. And the part that Annmarie forgot to mention is she traveled to Paris to help Chanel move. That's some true friendship right there. Yeah. That's no excuse.
There are other factors as well, but it happens to all coincide at the same time. And for some reason, whenever Chanel is moving apartments, I end up coming to visit her at the same time. I don't know if it's her manifesting something for me to get there, or I don't know what's in the universe. But when she was in Turkey, I also came when she was moving. So she was like,
"Oh, Chanel, she knows what she's doing."
She really does. It's like the third time actually, because the first time I came to Paris, she was also. Well, actually, that's a different story. We got kicked out of the place that she was staying at, so then we had to apartment hunt for a new place. I remember my dad was like calling me up, and he was like, "Oh my gosh, how's Paris? How's everything?" And I was like, "We're homeless. Like, we're trying to find this girl a place to live."
He's like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah, he was like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "Yeah."
Oh my gosh, so it was stressful. It wasn't even like, oh my gosh.
That's a trip. Yeah, that's a trip.
And Chanel, I'm guessing you speak French, right?
Je parle un petit peu.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's been 3 years. I could get by.
Okay.
But for the French people here, my French is disgusting. I still need to work on it. It's
Of course.
It's funny because it's funny because when I was in Turkey, I said like 3 words in Turkish, and everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, your Turkish is so good." I could say I could like do a whole conversation. I could go to the bank in French. I could I had to get so much done in French, and people's like, "Oh, you need to work on that." I'm like, "Okay, I know."
That's true French people.
Don't play. Yeah,
typical French people.
I love it.
So when we was in France, we spent, it was about a week between Paris and Nice, and so we traveled through France, and for 6 months we've studied just to try and get by. Like you just said, you was there for 3 years and you get by. Yep. We studied for 6 months and tried to get by in just that 1 week, and I mean failed. Like as soon as we got there, we forgot everything. I was like, oh, I'm done.
It was overwhelming. I was like, we had to catch a train, and then a plane from. We had a lot going on.
Yeah, it's like I'm saying. I always say it's like little New York, but France is much older than New York. Yeah. So it was dope. It was crazy. So you guys are co-hosts on a podcast called Sweet 15.
Yes.
And it was formerly called Room 3228, and definitely, when Daneyel gets into, we're going to ask more about that. We want you to explain more of that. But, Chanel, you're living in France right now, working with a company. Annmarie, you're here in the U.S., but you're in New York. And, we're going to dive deep into how your relationship and friendship, and then talk about everything that you guys got going on. And then reading through your bios, potentialite. First time I've ever read that. And I was like, I had to Google it. I'm not going to lie. I was like multi-potentialite. All right. That's new. You learn something new every day. And that was the word of the day for me. So we'll let you go right into it.
I love it. All right, ladies. So I have a question. Are you all, which Chanel, you already kind of alluded to, single and ready to mingle, or are one of you married?
I feel like we're married to each other, but we're both tight.
I love your wine glass, by the way, Annmarie.
Oh, thank you.
I love that. Good job. So married to each other. You guys talk to each other first thing in the morning, and then probably like last people you talk to at night.
All throughout the day. She's like my boyfriend. It's really bad. Sometimes she's like, Annmarie, I just can't. I need a break. And I'm like, are you breaking up with me?
Well, let me ask you guys this. Let me ask a different question. What family tradition would you say is special to you?
I'm going to say maybe traveling.
Okay.
I feel like this is something we've been doing quite constantly for the past few years. Like, Emery's now like my travel buddy. So like either if I'm in a place or she's in a place, we'll always go visit each other. Just a few weeks ago, we went to South Africa together.
Nice.
So I feel like we'll have these like really big like friendship like travels, and it's something that I feel like kind of just came naturally within the past few years, because the first time we actually met each other was in Israel, even though we went to the same school together. So I think it's just something that's kind of like grown with our friendship and has kind of become a tradition of ours.
Wait, time out. So you guys went to school together where?
We went to Baruch College in New York City.
Really? Never met each other? Both in the
No.
same college? That's crazy. And then all the way in Israel, you meet, and you're like, oh, I went to this college. I went to this college. I had this professor.
Yes.
I had this professor. Did we just become best friends? I love it. All right. Sorry, Annmarie, go ahead.
No, I was going to say we were also in the same club in college, but we never actually met each other. So I think Chanel was a sophomore at the time. I was a freshman. And so we happened to like always miss each other at meetings. Like if I went to meeting, she didn't go to that one.
Oh, wow.
Or if she went to meeting, I didn't go to that one. And then we just happened to go to Israel together. And the first time we spoke, I think was at a prep meeting for it. And she was like, Annmarie, like I'm in this club too. And I was like, no, you're not. Because I was the vice president at the time. And I was like, I've never seen you. And then I remember we went to Israel and I didn't really think much of it. And after that, we kind of lost touch for a little bit. And then we ended up rejoining the same club in like higher positions. And from there, we became super, super close.
I love it.
That's dope.
I love it. So let's talk about what you guys do. What do you guys do? What do you do for money? I have to say, I guess. So sometimes it's like, well, what do you do? It's like, well, I do 1,000 things. You know what I mean? But no, what brings you money?
So what brings me money? I currently work at the OECD. This is I'm so bad at describing this. The Organization of Cooperation Economic Development.
Okay, it's fancy.
Yeah, and I do HR pretty much. I do the human resources within the finance directorate.
Okay. Ooh, HR, you're the HR lady. Uh-oh. You hit
Yep.
the hammer, huh? The hammer. HR doesn't play. You know, you just stand behind the rules. Like, it's not me. It's the rules. That's just the way it is. What about you, Annmarie?
So I do production finance at HBO for East Coast Sports and Music. And then I'm also a freelance journalist and model.
Ooh, that's fun. That's all fun stuff. I love
Cool
that.
stuff.
Yeah. So what do you guys do for fun?
Nothing.
It sounds like your life is
Traveling.
fun. Yeah, I mean, you just went to South Africa, 2 weeks ago? Is that what you said, Chanel?
Yeah, a few weeks ago. Yeah, for me, I think I'm one of those culture girls. I moved here to France for the baguettes and the museums.
Yes.
And I guess traveling as well.
I love it. Annmarie, are you sticking?
For me.
Okay.
Oh.
No, I was gonna say, are you sticking with nothing, or okay? Go ahead.
No. I like to travel as well. It's one of my favorite things to do. And then I love going to concerts, museums, anything related to like art and culture, pop culture, anything like that.
Okay. I love it. I love that. I love going to museums and stuff too, especially in New York. And what are your dreams?
I think this is one thing I'm working on right now, is trying to find a new dream. I think for so long I had this idea of like, what Paris would be like, what traveling the world would be like. And once you kind of accomplish those things, you're just like, oh my goodness, my dreams weren't big enough. I think right now, like me and Annmarie kind of have the dream of like having our podcast grow, getting out there more. So I think at the moment, like this is kind of like where I'm dreaming and where I'm heading towards, but I think it could be bigger.
I love it. It's just the beginning.
Yeah, definitely. And that's a good segue into what is the podcast about? And it was called Room 3228. You switched it to Suite 15. What was the origin of that? And kind of throw in how, learning about each other in Israel, becoming friends, and then cultivating the relationship to build this podcast together.
Definitely. So we created the podcast in college after knowing each other for about a year. We had a third co-host. Her name was Anita, and she was also in the same club as us. It was called Isaac, but she didn't go to Israel, unfortunately. We just met her around Baruch. And for us, the club originally our club room was called, it was room 3228. And so we wanted to name our podcast after this because
cool.
you had a lot of like very deep conversations with our peers. We were all from different countries, different cultural backgrounds. And so we felt like when we were together, we had a lot of different opinions on different topics and we could talk about things in a super safe space. And so we kind of wanted to replicate that in a podcast format. Eventually, Anita couldn't join us on the podcast anymore because it just wasn't the right path for her. And so we ended up wanting to recalibrate, kind of start afresh. We still wanted that same idea of having safe conversations in a collective space with our peers, but we wanted it to be a little bit more elevated. So we went from a room to a suite, and then we just added up the numbers, 3228 equals 15. And so here we are.
I like that.
That's actually pretty fucking clever.
Super clever and classy. I like it. You moved up to the suite, baby.
Yeah, it's super dope.
Right?
And how long have you like, you know, from that time, how long has it been since you had the podcast total?
That's complicated. We took a couple of breaks here or there, but we had about 3 full seasons, so 3 full years of doing it. Then we took about a year break, and then now this is our 4th technical year of actually getting it together.
So that's super dope because as friends, right? And because I mean, Daneyel and I are married. We've been married for 15 years. We've been friends and together for 18. Well, no, we've been together for 18, married for 15, but friends for 20.
20 plus.
So we've been friends for 20 years, and even as my friend for 2 decades, sometimes we just don't have we don't see eye to eye, and we do everything together. So
well, that's the thing too, babe.
Huh?
That's the thing too. We do everything together.
Yeah, we do everything together. So we're entrepreneurs. We run businesses together. Husband and wife again. We do a podcast together. We have 4 children. So when it comes to creativity, right, especially from a collaborative standpoint, I think that's where we thrive the most because it's like a respect for, like, you know, you have a creative component that I will never be able to tap into, and I respect and I love it. And same for on my side. Now, as friends, as you two, you know, going, what did you say?
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. No, 1,000%. and as you know, from a friend perspective, you know, like you guys went to the same college, you was in the same, like you had all these things together, but didn't see it until you're in a foreign country. How do you come together now, and especially, are you guys still doing the podcast? Are you guys still as close as you were, you know, when you were in the club together? How does it look today?
Yeah, so I would say that I think the podcast is one of the reasons why our friendship has kind of thrived as much as it has, because we have to rely on each other so much. And I think we also have this respect for each other. Like, I know what Annmarie's strengths are, and we need that for the podcast. And she knows like what my strengths are. So I think they just blend so well together that it kind of like, it's our baby.
I love it.
I mean, it's not a real baby, but it's like something we both put a lot of energy into, and we both want to see each other do well. So we're always like trying to push and challenge each other to see like, okay, how can we continue to keep on growing together and also as individuals? And I think that's also why our friendship works so well, because we both know that we're there for each other, that no matter what, like she could count on me and I could count on her.
I love it. Chanel, tell us what the podcast is about before we move and dive deep into friendship.
Yeah, so pretty much what Annmarie said, it's just about like people being able to come together and have like really interesting and diverse perspectives on a conversation, and creating a safe space to do so. I think especially now, like with the world we're living in, you can see that there's so much discourse, and people don't know sometimes how to maybe find the right words or how to have these conversations in a way that both sides kind of grow from it, or at least see the other person's perspective. So we're kind of trying to provide a platform that does this in some way.
I love it. I love it.
Now, how many people outside of college, even going back to your younger years, that you actually still connect with and even have deeper relationships like the way you two have today? Is there anybody before you met each other that are similar or even close? I'll
answer this quickly. I would say that friendship has always been like one of those like big factors for me, or big values. So like when my first like best friend, I've had her since kindergarten.
Oh, wow.
So, and even like she's one that has moved. Like she's moved across country. She's moved across, and like I've also moved across countries. So like still keeping in contact has been difficult, and that's been since we were like maybe 9, 10 years old. But I don't know. For me, like if I find a person that I feel like really like fits, like we're like puzzles and we really fit well together, I'm gonna do anything possible to make sure that they stay in my life. And I found Annmarie, and she's still here today. So it's just an example of like the beauty of friendship and how you can kind of see a person like growing and like keep on flourishing after years.
Love it. I love it.
Annmarie, how about you?
So I think for me, I also rely quite a bit on friendship, but I didn't really find my closest or best friends until college. I think it was also just something my mom would always say, which is that like by the time you get to college, it's kind of when you're more developed and you're gravitating more towards people that are in similar mindsets and circles as you. I think when I was younger, I did a lot of sports, I did a lot of activities, and all of the people that were around me were really not the best types of friends for me. And so I don't have anyone super, super long lasting until I got to college. Now I have like a very core group of friends. I take them very seriously. And I kind of like, I consider them like my support group. And like, if I need to make a big decision, like I'll send in like a group chat with my closest friends. And like literally I have like an alert group chat, and it'll be like, I think there's like 6 or 7 of us. And you know, if we're fighting, you might get kicked out of the chat.
It's a second. There's all these runoff chats, right? It's like, she's not in this one.
Don't text the wrong chat.
Yeah, you're like, oh shit.
It's the wrong one.
With that leads me into my one of the questions that I have, which is like the different key characteristics of the different types of friendships, right? So there's like, we have these best friends, then we have our close friends, then we have acquaintances, right? And then we have like work friends. Like what are the like key differences in all these types of friends? I mean, like, okay, I'll tell you like odd friendships that I have. So we own a cafe, and I open it right in the morning, and then sometimes I'm there until closing.
Are you about to talk about the walk
I got
by
a friend.
friendship?
Yeah, I got a friend. You know, he's my friend. He walks by every single morning, and every morning I'm like, hey, you know, and he's like, hey. Do I know his name? Now I do, because it's like 2 months in. I go out, I run outside, and I'm like, hey, what's your name? And he's like, Dwayne. And I'm like, I'm Daneyel. That's all we've said. Now it's just like, hey, that's it. It's still the same. And it's every single day. And I like kind of consider him a friend. And if I don't see him, I'm like, I wonder where he is, before I even knew his name. Like, I wonder where this guy is, you know? And then Tommy's like, oh, that's your little boyfriend, or your little window friend.
So let me clarify this. We have big windows in the coffee shop. And it's not like a hey. It's like it's a wave. That's it. Yeah. Nobody says nothing. And I've seen Daneyel wave at this dude walk past. He's in the morning he's going to work, and in the afternoon he's going home. And not only did it rubbed off on me. Like, that's how crazy this friendship was. She's waving at him, and then he see me, he start waving at me. I'm like, I don't even know this guy. And we're just waving at each other. And then she's like, oh, that's Dwayne. And I was like, who is he? Where's he from? I don't know. We just see him every day, so now he's my friend.
He's my friend.
It's like, okay. He's my friend now, too. And now we haven't seen Dwayne in like a month. And now we're worried.
Yeah. It's like, is he okay? Yeah. Did he get hired somewhere else, or has he got another job? I don't even know. But he was my friend for a little bit, you know?
That is definitely a different characteristic from friendships.
Yes. So, I mean, it's like, what do you guys think? I mean, do you even have different characteristics of different kind of friends? I mean, honestly, he wasn't really a friend, right? But he's still, I did have some kind of a...
There was a connection
there. I did.
No, I would say, like, for me, I think I'm really bad at doing this, like, categorizing, like, friend groups and stuff. Mm-hmm. I'm a person that'd be like, yeah, like, that's my best friend. That's my close friend. That's my acquaintance. But when I was younger, my grandmother, I used to call everyone my friend. I was like, yeah, like, it could be just a random girl at school that I spoke to once. And I'd be like, yeah, my friend said, and my grandmother would be like, how's that girl your friend? Like, what do you mean? Mm-hmm. And I think from there, I felt like I started to like create these boundaries with friendships. Mm-hmm. But then I felt like sometimes like a person would like start crossing boundaries. They would go from like a close friend or like an acquaintance or a close friend, and sometimes it'll stress me out. I'm like, I only have 3 best friends. Like, you can't keep moving closer. And I think now, especially, like, I'll have like work friends and like my friends. I'm like friends. But now my work friends, like, they're trying to like schedule coffees and meetups outside of work, and I'm just like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like, you're crossing the boundaries.
Yeah, that's funny. That's the next time I say those friendships, like, and how they evolve, right? Because I mean, they start off as like a friend, and then a close friend, or even an acquaintance, or like a work person, and then from there, it kind of evolves into something closer. If you let it.
Exactly.
If you let it.
That's when boyfriends come around.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, your work friend became your boyfriend.
Yeah, that's true. That is so true. Annmarie?
So there's no in between for me. Like, either we're really, really good friends, or you're just an acquaintance.
Or you're an enemy.
And so, it's either acquaintance, I don't know you, or we're super, super close. And once we're really close, it takes a really long time for me to cut off a friendship, even if it's toxic or not good for me. I think once I really open up to somebody and trust them, I just consider them like part of my core circle.
Yeah.
So it takes a while to get there, but once you are, it's kind of like you're in the group.
Yeah, I agree. I'm like a loyal person too, so loyal almost to a fault. So it's like, and someone said in our podcast the other day, it's like, even if it's bad, like, I'm still just loyal. I'm a standby, you know?
So
Exactly.
that's a good point. Like, I'm all in. But then how do you deal with disagreements with your friends? Because now, you know, as you two said, you know, you're not in an exclusive relationship, but now you're in an exclusive relationship with many from a friendship, perspective. So how do you deal with those disagreements?
So just the other day, me and Annmarie actually had like a heated discussion, I would say. And I don't know. For her, it was like one of those things where she was like, Chanel, like, if you ever do this again, like, this would be the end. And I don't know. I think it's like having those boundaries where, like, like, for yourself, like, what's important to you, like, what your boundaries are, and like having to stay firm in that. And if you feel like somebody is like kind of crossing those boundaries, like, first, like what Annmarie did is like first like discuss it. Say like, okay, this hurt my feelings. This is why it hurt my feelings. And I want to say, like, going forward, like, these would be the consequences if it happens again. So I think that's very important when it comes to friendships or any kind of relationship, is like making sure that you know your self-worth and sticking to that no matter what. Because even if you have these friends from like years and years and years, sometimes people can take advantage of like your kindness or your generosity. And that shouldn't happen. If the person really cares about you, they should take that into consideration. They should know like how important you are as a person, and make sure they don't do anything that would like harm the friendship.
I love that. I have a friend, she used to always say, like, damn, should we buy each other rings? And I see, I see you guys have that same similar relationship. It's like, okay, you know, and I love that you could be honest about, you know, your mishaps that happen or miscommunications or whatever, you know. And Tommy and I have been friends forever, and married or even longer. No, I'm just kidding. But we have mishaps all the time, and we get through them. And because we're friends first, I think that really matters.
1,000%.
Yeah, I think it's really important when you have a friend to just have someone who's like willing to admit if they did something wrong or willing to listen. I think for me, like, if I have a friend who doesn't want to listen to my feelings and kind of will try to invalidate it, for me, that's a big no-no. Like, we have to be able to sit down and have a conversation so that we can keep growing together.
Yeah, definitely. So when we are kids, we have friends, and then as we become adults, it's a lot harder to get friends. I feel that there's a lot of people who are already like have their little clique of friends, right? Like, oh, like you guys, like, oh, we went to college. Well, I didn't go to college, so I don't have a college friend like that, right? Or, oh, we went to elementary school. Well, I went to like 3 or 4 elementary schools, and I went to maybe 4 middle schools, right? So I don't have a core, like someone who I went to school with that I kept in contact with for that long. So like for me in particularly, I'm kind of like the kid as an adult even now, that's like, hey, I want to be your friend, you know, and I'm like in the seeking of friends. Like, and I don't get me wrong, I have this core of friends that's not of friends. I have like maybe 2 friends, honestly, that I've known for over, one friend that I've known for over 15 years, or maybe 18 years, and then one friend that I've known for maybe 3 years that I would actually call a friend. But still, I desire friends, but it's hard. It's hard to get a friend, you know, because like you'll go and you'll talk to people and they're just like, what do you want? You know, or they're like, they're not interested in being friends. How do you get friends nowadays? Like, how would you tell someone to get friends?
I want to be your friend.
Yeah.
So I think this is a superpower of mine that was passed down from my mom. I think she also instilled this like this value of friendship within me. Like she was born and raised in England, but moved to the States when she was 9. And to this day, the girl that she was friends with when she was 9 is still her best friend. Like, what, 30 years later?
Wow.
And she's somebody who's able to like just pick up friends. And I think it's like this personality and this light. Like, I think she's just open to just meeting people and seeing people's light and seeing people in the best way possible. And it also just attracts good people to her. And I feel the same way, like even like moving here to Paris. I mean, one, there is this idea of like finding people's light. But I also just threw myself into activities and I treated everything like it was kindergarten all over again. I'll see a person if I think they're really cool and be like, hey, like, would you want to go out? Would you want to do something afterwards? And if they're your type of person, they'll be up for it. If they're not your type of people, then that's okay. That's fine. Like, we don't have to be friends. And I've also realized that like, it's not so much about the quantity, it's about the quality of the friendships. Like, I feel like I've picked up so many friends, but then as you grow older, you don't know like if people are going to stay with you or not. But you know your core people, and if you can just find even like 2 good people in the world, I think you're already winning.
Yeah, I agree. It's like different stages too. Like you kind of said, different stages of our life, we find these different friends, and they kind of mold us, and we kind of change and move on.
1000%. But and for me, I've always stayed to opposite of what Daneyel. I've always stayed in the same areas for so long. So all of my friends, like I still know people from elementary school, and we still connect. We might not connect every day, but we do still connect. So from elementary to middle to high school, every single person that's crossed my path, if I'm in some type of connection with them on social media, even if it's just a happy birthday, like, hey, happy birthday, you know, and then if I'm in town, then hopefully we could connect. Or if you ever come to San Diego, you better link up with me, you know, because right? I'm gonna hit you up. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Have you ever had a friend breakup? Now, we talked about a disagreement, but like a breakup, like we're not friends anymore, you know?
You know, when I was a kid, I had that because my friend, and this was great, my friend took my girlfriend. And I was like, we're not friends no more. And then we was friends the next day. I was like, he was like, I mean, he hit me right between the eyes. He was like, bro, come on. And we was like in 4th grade when this happened. We was like 4th, 5th grade.
That's funny.
And he was like, come on, man, we're brothers. And I was like, yeah, you're right.
I think for girls, it's a little different. It's a lot different. I know I particularly am emotional, right? I definitely remember as a kid, I had 1,000 breakups as a kid, right? I was like, oh, she doesn't want to be my friend anymore. You know, you're like, oh, come on, that was my story. I'm crying. But yeah, as an adult and having a breakup with a friend, it's been I don't know if I can remember. I think there's like sometimes things happen and you kind of just like
stop talking.
Yeah, and it's not really like a breakup, but I don't know. I have to think on that, but I think I've had some. I'm pretty sure I've broken up with a friend before. It's like you don't tell them though. That's what that's the one thing that I say, right? Like, excuse my French, but it's like I just don't fuck with them no more. You know what I mean? And it's like I don't got to tell them that though, right? I just don't, because if you tell them that, then they know it, and then they don't fuck with you either. You know
that
what I mean?
That was a friendship. That was an acquaintance.
That's true. But yeah, you just don't tell them. You just don't be friends with them. Just like, I don't mess with them. You know?
Annmarie, how have you broken up? Because I'm sure Annmarie has broken up with some people.
I broke up with somebody like 2 weeks ago, actually. I wrote a whole breakup letter, actually, and it was quite rude. I was really upset. And so I used ChatGPT to make it a little bit nicer. And then I sent it to them.
Oh, that's
and
so cool.
Oh my gosh, the letter was like, "Dear so-and-so, I just cannot continue on in this friendship anymore. I just don't think we're compatible, and I think we're moving in different directions, but I really wish the best for you. Unfortunately, this is the end of our friendship, but I'm always here if you need me."
I'm sorry, that's gangster. That's G. It's like, you know what?
That's respect. I respect that.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love that.
That's how I break up with people. I need a clean break.
I respect
Friends can get it. Everybody.
the chat GPT for
Yeah,
me, though.
I love it. Like, it's just a little
That
neat.
was Chanel's idea, actually.
Make this nicer, please.
Oh, look, you said that was Chanel's idea?
Yeah, it was.
So, Chanel, are you familiar with breaking up people, too?
I just support.
You just support that? Use the
I just want
tools.
healthy relationships for everyone.
That's funny.
Oh, that's great. So before we wrap up, because we got to hear the handles. Like we want you to think about a final thought, some value, whatever you want people to take away about friendships. So we want to give you a little time to think about that, and we want you to drop your handles as well, so where people could connect with you guys. But my final question for you two is if you had to switch lives, what would be the most challenging part? Because knowing how close you are, what would be the most challenging part, Annmarie, that you would have to deal with in Chanel's life, and Chanel, the most challenging part for Annmarie?
Ooh.
I don't know how truthful I should get.
Yeah.
So let me take a sip of wine.
That's
I think you should be
deep.
truthful.
The podcast is called Life and Shit.
Annmarie, well, she throws the hammer though. She throw that hammer in a minute. She be like asking you to read her breakup letter to you, and you don't even know.
I had one written just in case, actually, after last. And when we made up, I was like, "Do you want me to send this to you?" And she was like, "I don't think I can handle it."
I think you handle it.
She don't play. I think that's the best part of friendship, though, is someone who is so straight with you. That's great. The one that's going to tell you, girl, you don't look good. Girl, your slip is showing. You're not in the best space. Your face is not where it should be, and where you can take it and know that they're not hating on you. You know that they are saying it with love, and they're saying it with grace, and because they respect you and they want you to be better. Yes.
Yep. Save for the people in the back, please. Okay, to answer the question, I would say I think the most challenging part, if I had to switch places with Annmarie, like I love your family. I love your family, but I think sometimes they could be a little harsh on you. I feel like they could definitely support you better and definitely be there for you. I understand what they have to deal with you, but I think that would probably be the most challenging part. I think they should just show up just a little bit better.
Respect, Annmarie.
Respect.
I feel like mine is a cop-out, but I think the hardest part would be not speaking French and living in France, because I also don't speak French. And I've been to France a couple of times, and I just can't live there. I'm sorry. I love Europe. My parents are European. I lived in London, but Paris is not for me.
I can agree with you on that one. Nice, I could get away with Nice because it reminds me of San Diego. Yeah. But I think I can get by.
That's funny.
That's super dope. All right, so you got a final thought you want to drop? Are you ready to go to handles so you can think about that?
Well, one thing I say is, or a quote that I saw that I want to say is, when you're puking together, you become best friends. It's sometimes just life situations that put you in a position to be really good friends with people, That's a
good point. So people think that friendships just happen. No, it's circumstances and situations that come together that, it's a reason why you all became friends, right? It's like it was a moment in time. It's like if you think about that point of when you say I love you. Like, you don't know when you love somebody. It just happens, right? It is because of things that happen over time and the situations that happen over time. It's the fact that, you know, as a friend, you were there for me and you gave me positive words, or you know, you showed up when nobody else did. And so when we're partying and we're puking together, you was the only one that was puking with me. So that's real shit.
Real talk. And it's nothing like having that connection where you have like the inside jokes, or where you share these little things, or like those are the things that make those friendships special.
Or where you play games and people think you cheating because y'all so close.
Oh yeah, that's me and Tommy. We love Taboo, and
people like, y'all cheating. Cheating?
Well, we just know each other? It's like the card is like wine, and we're like, we do this on Wednesday. Wine. They're like, how? How are you guys doing this? But it's like we know each other, so it's like little clues that we could tell each other that we just pick up. Like, even when we play spades, and that's different. That's energy.
Annmarie, Chanel, can you please drop your handles, websites? Tell us a little bit about the podcast again to make sure people are tapping into you, where they can find it.
What's the name? Aloud. Even though it's on the class. I love that.
Okay, so we are Sweet 15. If you're interested in talking about any controversial topics in a safe space, you can come to us. We recently did episodes on the housing crisis in New York City. We talk about circumstantial friendships, travel, anything related to topics that you're passionate about, politics. And you can find us at welcome to room Sweet 15 at gmail.com. That's our Gmail. And then on Instagram, welcome to Sweet 15, Sweet 15 all around. Same thing, you can find us on Spotify and all of the major streaming platforms.
Hey.
Super dope. Super dope. You want to drop yours before they drop theirs?
My what? My
final thought.
Oh, my final thought. My final thought is just friends, they'll come, friends will go. One thing that I learned probably when I was in my 20s, early 20s. I'm not aging myself, I swear. I'm still kind of in my early 20s. But you choose your friends. You don't have to just be friends with whoever decides that they want to be friends with you. You, especially as an adult, have the option to make that conscious decision of who you want close to you and who you don't want close to you. And with you being able to have that power, I say to choose your friends wisely while you can. You are the average of the 5 people that you're closest to, which would be your friends. And I say to surround yourself with people who protect you.
1,000%. Couldn't agree with you more. And I would piggyback off that is, you know, you got to value the people that want to be around you, especially when you're at your worst, right? It's the people that find interest in you, the people that ask how you're doing, and then they're quiet to hear how you're doing.
They
right?
care.
Yeah. And in this life, you know, it's a journey. Like, we're all on this journey of life, and to find people that want to ride with you in this journey, you know, you as we talked about, you have to cultivate, because we all grow, we all evolve, and you just have to genuinely look and see, how have you changed? And I'm interested in how you change. And Annmarie and Chanel, I really respect that, you know, the relationship that you've cultivated over the years, and going through your podcast and living in 2 different countries and in 2 different worlds industry wise, and still connecting. You know, it's respect. And people don't talk about friendships. And especially coming out of a pandemic, friendships is probably one of the biggest things that we have lost connection with, because, you know, we see people in our cafe all the time, and they're trying to reconnect with their friends. Like, we're seeing people every day looking to reconnect. And friendships is a very pivotal corner in all of our lives, in this experience that we call human being. And so let's continue to grow that, and let's continue to respect the path that we're on with all our friends.
Love it. Ladies, your final thoughts?
Yeah, just to piggyback on all of that as well, bringing up how we're human, and as humans, we need community, and friendship is the biggest part of that. I don't think people understand like how important to your mental health having good friendships are, especially as women. Yes. You understand? Like, I seen a statistic that said, like, for women, like, depending on your friendships, that's how long you live. And then also for men, like, I think we just recently got out of men's mental health month. And I think the biggest thing for men is that sometimes they don't talk about their feelings. So sometimes it's so important for us to have these communities where we get to speak with our friends and kind of take some of this extra baggage that life and shit throws at us. And being able to create these friendships that can last a life, or even if it's just for a few moments, it's important, this cultivation that we must do as human beings. So yeah, it's my final thoughts.
I love it. And thank you for throwing in life and shit. Annmarie.
I think it's important to invest in people that invest in you. A lot of times I think people keep other people around them based on what they can do for them or if they make them look a certain way. And to me, that's never really the basis of a good friendship. A good friendship is one that makes you feel safe and supported, but also pushes you to grow. And then on the reverse side, I think it's also okay to let a toxic friendship go. Like Chanel said, some friends are just for a season. They're there for a reason. They're not always there for a lifetime. It's something I've always struggled with, but I've learned that it's okay to let people go or to move away from a friendship and kind of just do whatever feels best to you and your mental health.
I love that.
Very well put. Chanel, Annmarie, we appreciate you. Thank you for joining us on the show.
Yes.
My love.
I love you.
I love you. This is Life and Shyt. Do us a favor. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe. Leave a review. Let us know what your thoughts are. That's the only way that this show is going to be successful. And we appreciate you. Talk with you next time.